Tonight's tale is called Porch Pirate, Hexed Hall.
Ethan Park adjusted the brim of his navy cap a fraction lower, shielding his eyes behind oversized sunglasses. The June sun baked the manicured streets of Westfield Oaks, a neighborhood where driveways were longer than some city blocks, and houses looked airbrushed into reality. He strolled casually down the sidewalk, the rhythmic squeak of rubber wheels punctuating each step. His brown jumpsuit was loose but neat, the orange safety vest catching flashes of sunlight. Nobody gave a second glance to a delivery guy hustling packages. Halfway up the block, he slowed, pretending to check a printed slip on a clipboard. He cast a quick glance around. Quiet lawns, cars glinting like showroom models, sprinklers ticking gently in the breeze. Then, he made his move. The house was massive. Stucco pillars, wide porch shaded by a pair of potted palms. A stack of deliveries sat beside the double doors, sleek Amazon boxes, a pale blue gift bag, one anonymous cardboard cube sealed with neon green tape. Ethan parked his hand truck at the bottom of the steps. One by one, he unloaded the large boxes balanced on it, revealing they were all empty. Hollow props, perfect camouflage. He crouched and swiftly transferred the real packages from the porch into the empty shells. His movements were precise, practiced. In less than 40 seconds, the porch looked untouched, except for a single empty cardboard box left behind as decoy. Ethan straightened, exhaling softly. He spotted the black glass eye of a doorbell camera glinting at him from beside the door. He flashed a grin, lifted 2 fingers in a salute, and whispered, "Thanks for shopping." He turned the hand truck around and rolled it casually back down the path. The stolen haul tucked away inside his fake packages. Around the corner, he reached a gleaming, dark gray BMW. He popped the trunk, loaded the boxes, and peeled off smoothly into afternoon traffic. Sunglasses glinting in the rear view, Ethan kicked his front door shut with his heel, the boxes thumping down beside the entryway. Cool, filtered air whispered around him as he stepped into his apartment, a sleek, modern space on the 12th floor overlooking downtown. Floor-to-ceiling windows spilled afternoon sun across glossy hardwood floors. Every inch of the place screamed success. In the kitchen, stainless steel appliances gleamed like jewelry. A red stand mixer, an espresso machine the size of a small car, and perched on the counter, a towering chrome snow cone maker, currently churning a drift of powdery ice into a glass cup. Ethan unzipped his brown jumpsuit and stepped out of it like shedding skin. He dropped the jumpsuit onto a bar stool, raked a hand through his hair, and called out, "Alexa, play Blinding Lights by The Weeknd." Synth beats pulsed instantly through hidden speakers, filling the apartment with bouncing rhythm. Ethan grinned, crossing to the snow cone machine. He scooped a perfect dome of ice, drowned it in neon blue syrup, and took a long, bracing slurp. The sugar burned sweet and cold down his throat. He grabbed the stolen boxes from beside the door and carried them to the coffee table. One by one, he sliced them open. The first revealed organic dog treats. Meh, straight to the resale pile. The next box held a box set of gourmet olive oils. Nice. He set that aside for himself. A third box contained designer yoga leggings, still with tags. Jackpot. Easy eBay money. As he worked, his gaze drifted up to a photo on the wall. His family smiled out at him from a glossy 8x10 frame. His mom in a silk blouse, dad in a suit, and his kid brother flashing braces beneath a mop of black hair. All of them stood together in front of a giant Christmas tree. A tightness curled in Ethan's chest. He set down the box cutter and wiped his fingers on his jeans. It was a good family. Great, even. He loved them. He always had. They expected so much: grades, college, a respectable job, and he delivered. Degree in computer science, steady gig designing websites from home, the dutiful son. But even when he was a kid, the rush had been there.
slipping a pack of gum into his pocket, pocketing a little toy from a friend's house, not because he needed it, because it felt like flying. He told himself he wasn't hurting anyone. The people he stole from could afford it. Amazon would replace the missing packages. No one suffered. 20 minutes later, Ethan eased his BMW out of his parking garage, music thumping low from the speakers. He merged onto the freeway, the city skyline shrinking in his rearview mirror as he headed for Stonevale Heights. In his target neighborhood, Ethan glided his car through the winding streets, his windows half down, letting warm air swirl into the leather-scented cabin. House after house rolled past his gaze. White stone facades, Tuscan tiles, trimmed hedges that look laser-cut. Beautiful, but identical. Until he reached the far end of the neighborhood. Tucked at the back, almost hidden behind towering trees, sat a house that didn't match the suburban script at all. Wooden clapboard siding, painted soft sage green, weathered in spots but glowing gently under the sun. A huge front porch overflowed with hanging plants, wind chimes, glass bottle catching the light, and tangled vines creeping around the posts. At the very peak of the house was a large port window, a stained glass oval swirling with deep emerald greens. Well, aren't you special? Ethan pulled to the curb, killing his engine. He leaned forward over the wheel, studying the house.
In the side yard, a woman in her early 50s knelt among rows of herbs, her fingers coated in rich brown soil. Long blonde hair streaked with gray fell in loose waves in intricate little braids. Sunlight picked out gold glints in the strands as she wiped sweat from her brow. Then a shrill ringtone trilled across the yard. She glanced around, reached for her phone, and answered it with a bright, easy smile. Her eyes swept the street, and for a split second, Ethan felt like she was looking straight at him. He froze, sinking lower in his seat. She can't see me. Not from here. Chill. The woman laughed at something on the call, brushing dirt off her knees. She stood, dusted off her apron, and disappeared into the house. Moments later, she re-emerged carrying a woven tote bag and keys. She hopped into a vintage convertible, pale yellow with white trim, and eased it out of the driveway. Ethan watched her tail lights vanish around the bend. And then, like the universe serving him dessert, an enormous UPS truck pulled up, belching hot exhaust. A delivery guy in brown shorts and scuffed sneakers hustled from the truck, carrying armfuls of boxes. He stacked them neatly on the quirky porch, rang the bell out of habit, and trotted back to his vehicle. Within seconds, the truck rumbled off. Ethan stared, jaw slack. Seriously? Is this a setup? No cameras, no neighbors, a porch loaded with loot. He usually planned these things meticulously. But this was fate rolling out a red carpet. Fuck it. Ethan popped his trunk, tugged on his brown jumpsuit, slapped a cap low over his eyes, and grabbed his prop clipboard. Within 30 seconds, he was strolling up the path toward the flower-drenched porch. Wind chimes tinkled overhead. The boxes sat waiting like little treasure chests. Quickly, he loaded them into his hollow prop boxes on the hand truck. No camera lenses blinked at him from the door frame. The house seemed perfectly still until something caught his eye. In a window pane beside the door, he saw his own reflection staring back at him, sunglasses, cap, a flash of teeth as he grinned at his own audacity. Then, without warning, a jagged crack split across the glass, right through the center of his reflected face. Ethan jerked backward, his heart thudding. The crack seemed almost deliberate, like a lightning bolt etched precisely across his eyes and mouth. What the hell? He didn't wait to find out. Boxes piled high, he shoved his hand truck away from the porch, hustled back toward the street, and disappeared around the corner. Ethan shoved open his apartment door, one foot nudging it closed behind him as the boxes toppled onto the floor. Alexa, Play Industry Baby by Lil Nas X. Thumping horns and a rolling beat filled the sleek, modern space. Ethan grinned, peeling out of his jumpsuit and tossing it onto the couch. He headed straight for the kitchen. Let's see what this bitch has got. The snow cone machine rumbled to life with a whirring roar. Ice shattered into powder, and neon green syrup sluiced down into the glass. Ethan slurped a taste, grimaced, then grinned again. Back at the coffee table, he crouched over his haul. Like a dragon with gold, the boxes were an oddball mix. Shipping labels from all over. New Orleans, Massachusetts, Savannah, Georgia. Even a scribbled custom sticker from Mexico. He sliced open the smallest box. Inside were dozens of little plastic bags, each neatly labeled in cramped handwriting. Eyebright, Devil's Claw root, black salt, High John root, Angelica seeds. Ethan held one bag up to the light, frowning. What the fuck is this shit? She a chef or something? He tossed the herbs aside and opened the next box. Inside lay a heavy marble mortar and pestle, coiled lengths of twine in assorted colors, red, black, white, and a brass bell with a tiny clapper that jingled as he lifted it. Okay, someone's running a fucking medieval apothecary. He set it all aside and cracked open the third, larger box. More random contents. A set of taper candles in black and deep purple. A bundle of dried rosemary tied with black ribbon in something that looked like teeth. Ethan stared at the growing pile on his coffee table, deflated. This has been a bust so far. Maybe some of this hippie shit'll sell on Etsy. Finally, he reached the largest flat box, the one stamped Savannah, Georgia. He sliced the tape, lifted the flaps. Inside lay an ornate mirror, about 2 feet wide. The frame was heavy carved wood, swirling with Gothic flourishes, painted black and gold. But the glass itself wasn't normal. It was a dark, almost opaque black, like looking into a pool of oil. Jackpot! Definitely antique, definitely worth cash. Ethan propped the mirror against the wall and leaned in closer. His own reflection shimmered back at him, dim and colorless, like he was staring through smoked glass. He squinted. Something shifted behind his reflection. A flicker of movement. A suggestion of a shape, like someone standing just behind his shoulder. He spun around. Nothing. The room was silent except for the pulsing beat of the music and the soft melt of ice in his snow cone glass. Ethan exhaled a shaky laugh. Get it together, man. He turned back to the mirror, grinning now. Let's get this listed and sold. A few days later, Ethan was at it again. Same BMW gliding down perfect streets, same brown jumpsuit zipped up, same orange safety vest catching the sun. He'd already picked his mark, a sprawling colonial with white pillars and a security sign he knew was just for show. Routine. Easy. Ethan rang the doorbell out of habit, lifted the biggest box, heavy, always a good sign, and hustled it back to his trunk. Back at his apartment, music thumped low from the speakers. The snow cone machine buzzed in the background, whirling another neon mountain into existence. Ethan dumped the stolen box on the coffee table, panting a little. The thing was huge. Half his size, taped up like a Christmas present for a giant. All right, baby, let's see the goods. He slit the tape with his box cutter. Flaps popped open. Packing peanuts tumbled out, white, squeaky, light as air, and kept tumbling. Ethan plunged his arms in up to the elbows, scattering peanuts onto the floor. Jesus, how much did they use? He kept digging. A sour stink began to waft upward, like old garbage juice mixed with something metallic. Ethan recoiled, blinking, watering eyes. Ugh. The fuck? His fingers brushed something dense and soft. He froze. Slowly, he pulled upward, parting peanuts with both hands. A shape emerged. Black fur. Slick and clumped. Wet. For a split second, he thought plushy. A stuffed animal. Maybe expensive, but then he saw the glint of exposed ribs poking through matted hair. The skin hung loose and sloughing, flecked with pus and dark congealed blood. One glassy yellow eye stared half open from a slack face. The other eye socket collapsed into mush. A black cat. Real. Dead. Half rotted. Its stomach was split open, intestines poking through like pinkish gray worms. Ethan shrieked, a raw, choked sound that echoed through the apartment. He hurled the cat across the room. It hit the far wall with a wet thud and slumped onto the floor, dribbling thick fluid onto his polished hardwood. Fuck! He stumbled backward, clutching his chest, gasping for breath. The smell hit him fully now. Rancid, putrid, almost sweet. He gagged, sprinted for the kitchen sink, and spat into it over and over. What the fuck is wrong with people? Psycho freaks ordering dead animals through the mail? What the hell? What the actual? He grabbed paper towels and disinfectant spray, hands shaking so hard the bottle rattled. He edged closer to the cat, nose tucked into his elbow, eyes watering. Okay. Not a problem. I can clean this up. This is fine. This is totally fine. He sprayed bleach on the floor until the scent made him cough harder than the corpse did. Fucking psychos. What is this? Some voodoo sacrifice shit? Who the fuck orders dead cats? I'm not a goddamn garbage man. A few days later, Ethan was back at it. He couldn't help himself. Sure, the dead cat haunted his dreams, but his pride was on the line. His pulse still craved the rush. He needed a big score, a hit, something to erase the horror and prove he hadn't lost his touch. So he hit several houses that day, sloppier than usual. Less planning, less caution. He needed loot. Back in his apartment, he kicked the door shut and dropped the boxes near the entryway. Alexa, play Levitating by Dua Lipa. Silence. Then Alexa's chipper voice said, I'm sorry, I can't connect right now. Please check your Wi-Fi connection. Ethan scowled. Of course. Fucking perfect. He stomped over to his snow cone machine, hit the button. The motor whirred, but no ice came out. Come on! He slapped the machine, ice rattling somewhere deep inside. Nothing. Just an angry buzz. Fine, whatever. He turned to the boxes. Let's see what Santa brought me. He sliced open the first one, eager for anything worth cash. Inside was a plastic shopping bag tied tight. A wave of acrid stink hit him as he peeled it open. Dog shit. A whole bag of it. Are you fucking kidding me? He shoved it aside, gagging, and lunged for the next box. Feathers. Nothing but feathers. White and gray and spotted, crammed into the cardboard so they billowed out like smoke when he opened it. No. Ethan tore through the next few boxes, hands trembling. One was filled with dirt and dead beetles. Another contained a tangle of used dental floss, knotted into a ball the size of a grapefruit. Ethan stood over the chaos, panting. He wasn't scared, not yet. He was furious. This is a joke. Someone's fucking with me. He swept packing peanuts off the coffee table, eyes blazing. Finally, he grabbed the last box. Heavy, flat, taped carefully. He slid it open and froze. Inside lay a framed photograph. His family. The exact photo that had hung on his apartment wall. His mom, dad, and little brother smiling in front of the Christmas tree. Ethan stared at the photo, his pulse drumming in his ears. He snapped his gaze toward the wall where it should have been. It was gone. No, fuck no. Cold panic sluiced through him. Are the cops onto me? Did someone break in? Is it that bitch from the weird house? Did she follow me? He spun in a tight circle, eyes wide. Am I alone? He darted through the apartment, tearing open closet doors, checking under his bed, behind the shower curtain, even inside kitchen cabinets, places no human could ever fit. Nothing. Empty air and silence. A sudden buzzing from his phone made him shriek. He nearly dropped it. His thumb fumbled over the screen. An eBay notification. Congratulations. Your item has sold for $635. The mirror, the antique mirror. Ethan stared at the alert, his breath coming in ragged gasps. Slowly, a grin split his face. He swallowed hard, almost forcing himself to think about something else. Anything else. Okay. Get it wrapped. Get it out. He fetched a bubble wrap, packing paper, and a fresh box. Meticulously, he swaddled the mirror like an infant, taping every edge perfectly. He pulled up the shipping label and froze. The address on the buyer's order glared back at him. 12 Evergreen Lane, Stonevale Heights. Ethan blinked. It was the same street, the same neighborhood, the same weird house. Fine. Okay. You got me. You can have it back. His fingers flew over the keyboard. He canceled the order, muttering to himself, I'll send it for free. Totally free. No problem. Just in case, he opened a dozen browser tabs and started ordering new locks, a full security alarm system, door braces, motion sensors, and finally a big bottle of holy water from a specialty occult shop. He slammed his laptop shut and leaned his head into his hands, heart still hammering. Okay, Ethan. Deep breaths. You're fine. You're totally fine. The next day, Ethan was a wreck. Dark circles ringed his eyes. His hair stuck out in random tufts. He shuffled around the apartment barefoot, mumbling under his breath. He stood glaring at the snow cone machine on the counter like it had personally betrayed him. Come on, work, you piece of shit. Nothing in his apartment seemed to work anymore. His smart bulbs flickered randomly. Alexa kept saying, I'm sorry, I can't connect right now. The dishwasher beeped error over and over. The TV stayed stubbornly black, refusing to turn on. Even his electric toothbrush had died mid-brush that morning, leaving him spitting foam into the sink. He snatched up his phone, thumbs flying over the Amazon app. All his security orders were 10 stops away. Thank you, Prime. He paced back and forth across the living room, chewing his thumbnail down to the quick. Some witch bitch. Come into my house, take my shit. He paused mid-rant, frowning. Okay. Yeah, the irony, whatever. He waved the thought away. She won't get back in after today. It's gonna be Fort Knox in here. Creepy hippie bitch. He marched into the kitchen, still ranting. I need a fucking snow cone. He stabbed the button on the snow cone machine. It hummed weakly, sputtered, and then roared to life like a jet engine. Yes! Shards of ice tumbled into the cup. Ethan grabbed every bottle of syrup he owned and poured them all in at once. Cherry, blue raspberry, lime, grape, tiger's blood. A rainbow slush swirled into the glass. He lifted it, trembling, eyes nearly filling with tears. Oh, sweet Jesus. Come to Ethan. He lifted the straw to his lips, and the doorbell rang. Ethan shrieked. The snow cone flew from his hands in a technicolor arc, splattering across the hardwood and dripping neon down the walls. He stumbled backward, hit the coffee table, and crashed to the floor. He scuttled away on hands and feet, eyes wide as saucers. No, please, I'm sorry. Oh God, dude, please. You can have my air fryer, the snow cone machine, whatever you want. Just don't kill me. A hesitant, muffled voice came from the other side of the door. Delivery. Ethan froze mid-scoot. He blinked. He slowly clambered to his feet, slicking his hair back and straightening his twisted shirt. He tiptoed to the door and peeked through the peephole. Out in the hallway, he saw his usual Amazon driver, a skinny guy in shorts and a ball cap, walking away, scanning the next package on his little handheld scanner. His phone buzzed in his pocket. Your Amazon delivery has been dropped off. Photo included. Ethan leaned his forehead against the door and let out a shaky laugh. Fucking Prime. Ethan stared at the 3 boxes in his hallway. 2 were normal enough, small, medium. But the last one loomed. tall and wide enough to hold a washing machine. He shoved at its side. It's not even heavy. They gotta be losing money shipping this shit in here. He hauled it inside, sweat glistening on his temples, and lined all 3 boxes in a neat row in front of his coffee table. One by one, he opened the smaller boxes. Out came his fortress of security gadgets, except... He blinked around the room. Wait. Where's the holy water? He scanned the floor, the boxes, checked packing slips, probably in this behemoth. Packer's got jokes, huh? He pulled his box cutter from his pocket and sliced the tape. The lid burst upward with a gasp like an inhaling lung. A swirling cloud of black smoke exploded out, billowing into the room. The air went cold and heavy. Light seemed to vanish, sucked into the darkness. His snow cone machine went berserk, spraying ice and neon syrup across the kitchen like a fire hydrant. The lights flickered wildly. Alexa's voice crooned from the speakers in an eerie, lilting tone. Now playing Season of the Witch by Lana Del Rey. The floor trembled. Ethan staggered backward, eyes wide, mouth hanging open. Wind spiraled around the living room, rattling blinds and sending embers of orange and yellow drifting through the black smoke like fiery fireflies. From the center of the darkness, a massive shape began to materialize. Tall, angular, cloaked in swirling shadows. Ethan tried to scream, but before he could make a sound, the shape lunged at him, rushing forward like a collapsing wave.
A gentle breeze rustled leaves in a perfect suburban neighborhood. A delivery truck rolled slowly down a winding street, blinker ticking. It pulled up to the quirky green house with the big porch. Tommy, the delivery driver, hopped down from the cab and heaved a giant box onto his hand truck. He trundled it up the driveway, waving to the woman in the front garden. She was digging in the soil, sun hat tilted low over her braids. Wisps of blonde and gray hair fell across her shoulders. She looked up, shading her eyes. "Hey, Thomas. How are you today?" Tommy grinned. "Told you, Miss Calhoun, you can call me Tommy." She laughed lightly. "Oh, I'm sorry. I'll remember next time, sweetheart. Do you have something for me?" "Yes, ma'am. Weighs a ton, too. You want it on the porch?" "That'll be fine, thank you. Oh, and grab those tomatoes for your wife. I just picked them." Tommy loaded the box onto the porch, took the tomatoes, and waved as he drove off. Miss Calhoun wiped her hands on her apron, humming softly. She approached the enormous box. From her pocket, she pulled out an ornate black dagger, the blade etched with swirling symbols. She slid the dagger under the packing tape and sliced it open in one clean motion. The flaps fell away. Inside, curled into a twisted fetal position, was Ethan Park. His body was shriveled as if it had been sucked dry of all his liquids. The skin had gone chalky, crusted brown-gray. His mouth hung open at an unnatural angle, lips curled up exposing his teeth. He was frozen mid-scream. His eyes were shriveled like raisins, sunken deep into his skull. Dried blood flaked from his nostrils and lips. His arms were curled tight against his chest, fingers clawed as if gripping invisible bars. Miss Calhoun gazed down at him with fond satisfaction. "You're finally here! I've got a lot of plans for you, Ethan." She reached into the box beside him and lifted out the ornate black mirror, running her fingers gently along its frame. "Oh, just beautiful." She set the mirror carefully against the porch railing, then turned back to Ethan, smiling. The wind picked up around the porch, rustling the leaves and setting the wind chimes singing. Miss Calhoun lifted the dagger, eyes sparkling. "Let's get started."
The veil draws shut once more, and our guest from beyond fades into the hush of candlelight. You've done well to linger this long, friend. Not everyone has the stomach for such company. But should you ever feel that cold breath on your neck, or hear a whisper that don't belong to the living, Just return here to the Seance Society where the dead speak and the living listen. Like and subscribe to our channel for more ghastly tales. Oh, and don't forget your creepy cocktail recipe. It's buried down in the description.